KCRW. I'm here with Jonathan Greenstein of J. Greenstein and Company, and Antique Judaica Auction House in Cedarhurst. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
So Jonathan, I understand that Michael Steinhardt, the financier, had a big sale this week of Judaica.
Yeah.
And you purchased some of the pieces?
Yeah, it was an unbelievable event within the field of Judaica. Judaica collecting is a tremendous hobby, but there's been nothing like this in the history of collecting Judaica in the last 100 years. It was an epic auction.
Wow.
Michael Steinhardt, who was a client of mine for many years buying Judaica, decided one day he's just going to sell everything.
Did he buy low and sell high?
Yeah, he did unbelievable. The prices realized on Monday's auction were the highest prices in history for specific items. A lot of it had to do with the fact that he's a very well-known Jew, and people wanted to own a piece of his collection. But a lot more of it had to do with the publicity that it got. Everybody in the world knew that this auction was going to happen, and it did, and the results were phenomenal. Sorry.
So for some of our viewers who might not be familiar, how would you define Judaica?
Judaica is any ritual object that's used during the Jewish ceremony, such as some of the items we have on the table that we'll discuss in a few minutes. But antique Judaica, which is what Michael collected, he went back a lot earlier than most people do. Most people start collecting during the 1650s, 1700s, all the way up to World War II. He went back to pre-medieval times.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. I know people who are collectors are passionate, and I know Mr. Steinhardt is very passionate about Jewish continuity. And I read that there are only about 700 really hardcore collectors of Judaica in the world, and yet some of it's very valuable.
Yeah.
And it has to do with the Holocaust. Can you
Yeah.
explain that?
There are 16.5 million Jews in the universe. Out of that 16.5 million Jews, only about 650 of them are active Judaica collectors.
Okay.
Out of that 650 Judaica collectors, there's probably about 150 people that could spend upwards of $5,000, $6,000 on a particular item.
Okay.
And out of that 150, there's probably 50 that could spend $50,000 or more. Everybody converged together. They all were active in this auction. That's what made it a tremendous success.
Physically, they were there, or
No. It was well attended, but the days of 400 people showing up at an auction have been over for many years. Now everybody just signs in at home, or in their office and bids online, or is on the phone, or does order bids prior to the auction.
I think it was one of the big museums this week purchased one of Mr.
Yeah.
Steinhardt's pieces.
Yeah. In addition to whatever happened with the Mishnah Torah, the one large Italian Torah crown sold for just under $900,000 to the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Whoa.
It was an unbelievable price, or almost twice the original estimate, but well worth it because it was just so attractive.
Wow. And I know in any business there are unscrupulous people. How do you develop the eye for what is authentic? I know you're an expert.
Yeah, thank you. Years. From the age of 14 till where I am now, 46, I have been running around literally the United States of America looking for Judaica. People email me constantly, and I respond, and you have to visually see things, touch things, smell things, but more importantly, you have to go to some of the places that they make this stuff and they sell it to tourists. That's how most of the fake antique Judaica infiltrates the market. Like the person that goes to Marrakesh and decides to buy something from a local vendor, doesn't realize that it was an unscrupulous or evil dealer that sent it to Marrakesh to sell it to the stupid American tourist that was going to buy it. Or they walk into an antique store in Prague and it was made somewhere in Poland 3 hours before they got there. Or the Kiddush cup that was still warm in Israel, near the Shuk. That's how most fakes are brought into the market.
Okay. Well, now we have some real authentic
Yeah.
Judaica here, and can you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at?
Yeah, sure. These are items that my gallery purchased at Monday's auction. We thought they were very beautiful pieces, and not only that, but underpriced. Obviously, obviously, as a gallery, we have to be able to make a small profit on things. But in addition, I just love them. I mean, I don't care if
Yes.
they ever sell, they'll be in the gallery. First one we're looking at is a Polish spice box.
Uh-huh.
On Saturday night, the Jews differentiate the Sabbath to the work week with a bunch of blessings. One of the blessings is over spices,
Mm-hmm.
usually cloves. There's no Jewish law that indicates how it has to be housed, so an artist could be exceptionally creative in what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even need to have a housing. You could walk around with a bunch of cloves in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
But the more wealthier Jews would commission a piece like this.
Okay.
This was made in Poland.
It's very pretty.
Yeah, this was made in Poland approximately 1820, maybe
Yes.
1810. The top comes off, the spices go in, it goes back down, and that's how it rolls.
Great.
Value on something like this would be between $10,000 and $15,000.
Okay. And are all these pieces silver?
These are all silver,
Uh-huh.
correct. This piece is also a silver filigree spice box. It was made in Lemberg in Poland. In Lemberg in Poland, about 220, 230 years ago. It's made completely of filigree with alternating levels.
Mhm.
Most Jews were very, very poor. So
Oh.
if somebody to own a piece like this, they had to be a very, very wealthy Jew.
Uh-huh.
And this sold, we bought this yesterday for $12,000.
Wow.
But in my humble opinion, it should have brought at least 20,000.
Mhm.
So that's why we
I love this piece.
This
It's
piece
very
was the
unique.
best piece in the whole auction, I'm sorry, even though it wasn't the most expensive one. I was dying to own one of these since the first one sold for I think $100-something thousand in an auction about 15 years ago. And nobody paid attention to it because there were just so much more glorious pieces. But this is an 8-headed hydra
Uh-huh.
in the shape of a menorah. It was
Huh.
made in Altenburg, I want to say approximately 1820, 1830. And I'm in love with it. And more importantly than me being in love with it, I was reviewing the catalog in my house, trying to decide what things are worth, and my son fell in love with it.
Uh-huh.
So even if it stays in the gallery for the next 100 years, I'm sold. It's just an unbelievable piece.
Well, it's very distinctive, and yeah, it surprises me a little that it's you know, a Jewish ritual object, but it makes reference to, what is the Hydra, something Greek maybe?
No, it's just a piece of art.
Yes.
You know, like people like to think in Judaica that there's certain reasons that there's all sorts of iconography,
Mhm.
but for the most part, it's just decorative.
Mhm. Well, they're beautiful, and thank you so much.
Yeah.
Last question is just any bit of advice for would-be collectors of Judaica?
Judaica collecting is awesome. It's a tremendous experience to make Kiddush on a Friday night on a Kiddush cup that may have been used 200-300 years ago, or light a Hanukkah menorah that you had generations using before you. It's an unbelievable endeavor, but you have to be very, very careful what you buy. Any auction house that you're buying from needs to have a lifetime guarantee,
Uh-huh.
warranty in case somebody brings the piece to a person like me and I say, sorry, it's fake.
Oh.
Or buy it from somebody that's extremely honest and reasonable and fair.
Okay, like yourself. Well,
Well,
thank
I
you
hope
for
so.
being with us.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Great.